7:06 p.m. I call the meeting of the Agricultural Commission to order. This is the March 23rd meeting, 2023. In attendance, we have Carl Wickstrom, Laura Buskey, Deborah Rolfe, and myself, James Wheeler. And just as a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and will eventually be posted on the town's YouTube channel. All that taken care of, we will hop over to the agenda. First item on this evening's agenda is acceptance of the February 2023 minutes. Laura?
Yeah, I think I sent them out on the earlier side this time, like not yesterday. I sent them out a couple weeks ago or something.
I wasn't ready for them yet.
I didn't.
Make a motion, I make a motion, we approve the minutes as distributed by Laura.
I'll second it.
All right, a motion to approve the minutes as submitted by Laura and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion passes. Move on to the treasurer's report.
So we have not received February National Grid bill yet. I just emailed the town account today to find out what the amount was. It's been about $10 for the winter, but that's not in this number. The ending balance so far is in the budget is $1,238.05. We did spend, which hasn't come out of there because I don't have the exact amount. What was it, Deb? We spent $153 on the weed whacker.
Yeah, I think it was 152 and change, so 153 is safe. And then on the, oh yes, I had this all written down, ready to go. We spent.
Oh, I can circle back to you because I was just going to give the totals.
No, I have it. I just had to go through
okay.
3 layers
Okay.
of stuff I wrote out. 357 for the tank, and yeah, that's all we bought the other day was the
Okay.
tank and the weed whacker. Yep.
So out of the budget account, I still have the 153 as like outstanding because I don't have an actual, and we haven't submitted the actual invoice yet. There's money set aside for the 5 yards of loam, not to exceed 175, and for spring compost of $600. So the total available there would be $310.05. And then on the donation side, we did get a couple of deposits, which we'll be talking about in a minute. And we spent $357 on the tank itself. And I think that we're still going to be buying the peripherals, the timber and all of that, right?
Yes.
So there's still 450 that Deb, there's actually 500 from what we voted on. But there's 450 that Deb is spending there. So there is available funds in the donation account right now of $3,479.91. So almost $3,800 total funds available. If that makes sense.
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented and a second. Is there any need for discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, I'll ask everyone to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. Moving on to incoming correspondence. Back to
Again,
vote.
little this month. 2 treasury deposits, one for $105 and one for $150, which was all stuff going to the donation account. There was a thank you letter to Jessica Sullivan for her donation to the garden. And then there were several garden applications, which I passed along to Deborah. And I'm thankful that Deborah has a key to the cultural council, because that makes it super easy.
Yeah,
I
not
take it
like
out
the
of our
good old
mailbox and
days.
put it in the other.
Yeah, not like the good old days of the open mailboxes, right?
Yeah, yeah. But that was really all that came through for written correspondence. Do you want to go on to AgCom?
Okay, yeah, we may as well do those two.
Okay. On the 9th of March, the select board sent out a retirement notice of a retirement gathering for Library Director Robert Hodge, which will be this coming Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. at 19 Carter. And everybody's invited if you want to go. And then there were other communications from the select board, one on the 13th of March saying, please reschedule your 3/14 meeting, which we ended up doing to tonight. And then the invitation to the Zoom, this Zoom meeting came out on the 16th of March. And then right after that, a notice came through that said they are unclear if the state will allow Zoom only meetings to continue past March 31st. So we may have to meet in person beginning in April. And I think we're going to talk about that a little more tonight too. The rest of everything was really just the newslettery kind of things. I don't think there's anything in there that you guys haven't already seen. But I've listed them out. So when you get the minutes from me, if there's anything you want, give me a shout. I save them for about a month and then I toss them. So that's it.
All right. In that case, we'll move on to unfinished business. The security cameras. I have everything laid out and pretty much ready to just bolt on. So, any day now. It will definitely be up before we open up the garden. So, I got slightly distracted by some stuff around the farm, but I'll be able to get down there pretty quick. So that's pretty much squared away.
Is there anything you need me to do to facilitate that?
I don't think so. The cable form is a lot longer than I realized, and so we can run it from anywhere in the shed to anywhere else in the shed. So that will be easy to set up. I figured I'd just put the recorder in the back corner so it's out of the way. On one of those shelves, it seemed like there was plenty of room that I might shuffle something around a bit, but
Yeah, go ahead and move things if you need to. I cleared out that shed pretty good and put a lot of stuff up on the shelves this past week to get ready to be able to bring the big tiller in. And Laura and I picked up one of the tanks this past week. So that tank is in there, which meant that I needed to make space. So I am fine with you moving anything, but if you tell me where you want it to be, I will make sure that I move the stuff accordingly.
all right. Yeah, I don't think it'll take up much space, so it should. I think, unless things have moved around in there a lot, since I was looking in the other day, and it seems like it should all be good. So, yeah, I'll reach out if I hit any snags.
Okay, yeah, because it looks a lot different today than it did earlier last week.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice because it's the box is like less than a foot wide and only a few inches deep, so you can kind of tuck it away anywhere, and then you can run cable to the cameras sort of however we want. It's like 60 foot of cable on each one, I think. So
Okay, would you like a space near the electrical panel? There is a plug down there right near the panel.
yeah, I mean, I figured I could put it in the back left. I think there's an outlet over. close enough to that where it should be pretty accessible.
Okay, so when you say back left, if you go in the door
You go
and
in the
turn
door,
towards the
yeah,
wall that is towards the street, you're talking about the left side right above
the
the
right
panel.
hand side of that. So if you're
Oh,
in the door facing straight into the shed, and all the shed's kind of to your left, it just the basically the corner opposite the door, kitty
Oh,
corner.
so near the water tank? That
No,
corner?
no, if you're facing the water tank, to the left of that. So
Okay, so to the left of that, but which side of that wall?
diagonally across from the door. If you're
Okay.
standing in the door, just
Okay, so if you're standing in the door and you turn to face River Road, that is River Road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you turn to face River Road to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I just want to move some of the stuff if I can. If I get, I'm planning on getting over there, so I'll just clear out stuff on that. That's why I'm,
And I can meet you down there and show you where I was going to put it. That might be the easiest thing if you want.
all right. We'll talk. I was thinking about going down Sunday at some point.
Okay, yeah, I'll be
Work?
around. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I can shoot you an email and we can figure something out.
Okay.
Cool. All right. In that case, moving on to the fencing project.
Okay,
Maybe
just a
in the
couple of
spotlight
things.
again.
It's going to be Article 11 on the warrant for the Maytown meeting. I have a copy of the article. I think the select board has approved that, so that's going forward. Received an email on March 14th from Tim Wheeler. He believes that the CPA believes that they have they're in a position to fund each of the projects. There's another project apparently running in parallel with ours, so looks like the funding is available. So that's good. After our last meeting, I mentioned I was meeting, I think it was on the 17th of February with our town administrator, and I sent out an email to everybody. Basically, that was for the procurement package. She had no problem with the document. He does have to add a couple of things as required by the state. It's over $25,000. And she has to advertise it, so she's going to take care of all of that. So the bottom line there is, if it gets approved at the town meeting, we ought to be in a position to shortly thereafter go out on the street and get bids. Let's see. Got an inquiry from our town administrator back on the 14th. Apparently the select board had concerns as to how gardeners would enter the garden once the fencing is installed, relative to, locking the garden gates and things of that nature. So I explained to them we would be using combination locks, just like the type of locks the lock that we currently have on the garden shed, and that's working fine. So I haven't gotten any feedback on that, so apparently my response to it must have been adequate. So, that's it. Any questions?
I can't think of anything. Seems good. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
All right. Shall we move on to the community garden registrations?
Okay. So far, we've had 25 applicants from Berlin and 14 from out of town. The Berlin residents are all paid. I don't request from out of town until I know that they are going to be assigned a plot in the garden, so that none of that money has come in. Right now, there's a wait list for one of the raised beds from a Berlin resident and one from an out of town, which we're not going to be able to satisfy this year, but I have a thought process about that. Additional donations, we've received $130 additional from our Berlin residents, and $130 from our gardeners, and then an additional $260 from Berlin residents, which is way more than we've ever gotten. So it's nice. It's becoming much more known in the community, which is terrific. And I hear a lot of great things. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. I drive by it and all that. So the residents are beginning to see what a lovely place it is. I'm going to make another deposit tomorrow,
Great.
Laura. I have $150 more to deposit into the donation account tomorrow.
Okay.
One other nice thing was that we also received an offer of help from a resident with maintenance things. And I asked him, he has a wood shop, and he said he could do, different kinds of things along those lines. So I asked him if he could fix the wheelbarrow that's in pretty rough shape. And he came and picked it up today and said, I'll have it back to you in 3 days. So I thought that was great that I have him to call upon to do some of the maintenance things that aren't done by the gardeners. So that is all I have to say about registrations at this time. We're full, except for one 20 by 20 plot. And as things go, as the weather gets warmer, I will still get one application a week. So I have no question that the garden will be totally full. And that includes both the out-of-town people who apply as well as the Berlin residents who always have priority to bump out any of the out-of-town requests.
Deborah, can I ask you a question?
Sure. No, you can't.
The 130 from the gardeners, was that in addition to their fee?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
When they put in for their fee for their garden, there were people who their fee was
Yeah.
only $20, but they paid $50,
Okay.
which is what a lot of them do. They obviously, to get that kind of money, they'll pay more than what their plot. And I've written the thank you letters for everyone, but I just noticed, I wrote one today for a resident who made a $100 donation, as well as I forgot to write one for someone who had made a cash donation. Excuse me, and I'll take care of that as well, writing that thank you letter.
And I'm guessing I know who that resident is that offered to fix the wheelbarrow and do all that. I think it's my neighbor.
He lives up on River Road.
Oh, no, it isn't then.
Oh, I don't think he is.
It just sounds like him.
Yeah, but let's rope him in too.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Yeah, it's a guy who I guess just retired, and he says he doesn't play golf and he's looking for something to do.
Oh, good for
Which I
him.
thought was pretty humorous.
Oh, that's nice. All
So
right.
that's my registration thing. Do you want to move to additional raised beds?
Yeah, we can move on to talking about adding the raised beds.
Okay. So this week, Laura and I went to Tractor Supply and picked up the raised bed that's going to go in on the donation account money. I had gone in earlier in the week and negotiated a 15% discount on the tank. So we picked it up and brought it over, and it's ready to go. We just have to drill the holes in it. I have to go pick up the timbers, but I wanted to run this by everybody. Oh, and I thank Laura for doing that, of course, with me. We always have a pleasurable trip over to Tractor Supply and tying up the door as we push that in, pulling it into the shed. Always an adventure, Laura.
I think it's just funny that, two women come and, get this thing in there.
And the guy looks at us and like, what are they doing here? But that's okay.
It's fun. It's fun watching the guys watch us.
Exactly. So the amount of money for the rest of the material. So let me back up. So it ended up being $357 for a tank that retails for $420. So I knocked it down quite a bit. To do the rest of the stuff, the timbers and everything, it is wait, I gotta go back up here. It's about $93 to do the 6x6x8 timbers that we need, and then the cement blocks that we put underneath. So when all is said and done for the one setup, it comes out to about $450, which we had voted on $500 for the additional tank. What I'd like to do, since I came under budget, is to propose that there are 2 tanks that are currently on the ground. And people really like the higher ones. So what I'd like to ask for is to consider raising the amount from $500 to $550 to cover an additional set of timbers and blocks so that we can raise up one of the other tanks. And the way that I'd like to do that is to get the new tank in, use the dirt from the one that's on the ground to fill the one that's raised. And then once that is empty of the dirt, get that out of the way, put the timbers down and lift up the one that's on the ground. And I'd like to do that this spring and then do a similar situation in the fall when, or at some point later when I get the other tank that is on the FY24 budget. So what I'm asking for right now is to raise the amount that was voted last time for the 500 to do the raised bed that we're going to put in anyway, raise it to 550 so I can buy the additional stuff to lift that one other tank up this spring.
I make a motion that we raise the prior limit of $500 for the raised beds to $550.
I second it.
All right, we have a motion to raise the limit for the raised beds from 500 to 550. Is there any need for discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll ask everyone to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, motion passes.
Deborah, I just have a question. The new tank, is it the same size as the ones we currently have there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, we're
Thank
gonna go, the vision is to keep going with that size right down and everything raised up to chest height, which is really, people are loving that. And what I'm finding is we're getting more people from the senior housing
Oh, yeah.
who are coming down and wanting them. And I really hate to have to say no to them. I want to keep raising, get a whole section of raised beds there for people to be able to come down to garden. So,
Great,
yeah. So
very good. Well done.
that being said, I want to move to the other smoke and mirrors with the money. So with FY23 money, we had allocated $250 for a gas-powered weed whacker. And the more I thought about that, the more I thought that it was not a great idea to get a gas weed whacker for 2 reasons. First of all, the weight and the age of the people who are generally the people who help and operate it, and the size of the people like me who generally operate that stuff. And then more gas in the shed, which I didn't want, having a 1 can of gas or a tank of gas for one thing and another thing. And sometimes you need to have different kinds of gas for the rototiller and for something like that. So Laura and I, when we were there, well, I had gone there and actually looked at another one, which is, what is it called? Green. Laura, we talked about this. Green.
Yeah, it's It's escaping me right now.
I know I wrote it down somewhere. Let me look at the
Greenworks.
other page of
Greenworks.
Greenworks, which is a whole system of battery operated stuff, interchangeable batteries, all that kind of stuff. And I was able to get a really great deal from Tractor Supply on that, which was originally like an over $200 item. And I was able to get it for $153. So I did purchase it, but with the thought that if it was disagreeable to everybody, I can certainly take it back. I didn't open it, but I would like to. Laura has a couple of pieces of their equipment, correct? And
Yeah,
you said
several.
it's very good. And I've heard other things about it. So I would like to be able to vote that we accept this weed whacker, which we can, it runs on the battery for over 30 hours, which is, so it holds a good charge and it's not as heavy as a gas one. I would like to have that one. And then with the additional money that was allocated in FY23, I would like to buy the landscaping cloth that we had allocated for 24 to be able to get the landscaping cloth out before I put the new raised beds in, because we don't have any in place to put in the new raised beds. So the difference in from the 250 that was allocated, pay the 153 for the weed whacker is $97. And I would like to propose that savings of $97 towards what was allocated is allocated to buy the landscaping cloth that I'm going to need to complete the first part of the extension of the raised beds. Again, a lot of words, but I hope that made sense.
I make a motion that we approve the purchased battery operated weed whacker, and that we allocate the balance of $97 towards landscaping cloth.
All right. You have a second?
Second, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Typing in.
I don't think I can second it when I'm
I'm typing, I'm trying to type it in.
I was doing the same thing. All right, we have a motion to approve the purchase of a the battery operated weed whacker, and that we allocate the balance of 97 towards landscaping cloth. Is there a need for any discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll ask everyone to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, and all opposed? All right, motion passes.
okay. So here I go again. I was hoping Shane would be here tonight because, and you guys can probably, I'm sure you can tell me this as well, but we had in that FY23 money, 175 for loam and 600 for compost. I don't know how much, I think it said 5 cubic feet. Is that a correct measurement? Would be the 175 for loam?
It's usually referred to in yards, cubic yards.
Cubic yards? Okay.
Yeah,
I will learn the language eventually.
It was 5 yards of loam.
Okay, so how much is that? Like, I need an idea of how big of a load of loam that would be.
Isn't
The
5
bucket,
yards like,
oh sorry, the bucket that we have on the tractor that I came down with last year is about a yard.
Okay, so that would be a pretty decent amount to fill an additional one of those. When you dump that bucket in, that pretty much filled that tank, correct?
It took more than one bucket loaded.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember specifically, but it those tanks are a bit bigger than the bucket.
Okay, so if I'm saying one of the tanks would take 2 buckets full, that would be ballpark.
Yeah, it might pay to measure it.
Well, they're 3 by
It's-
3 by 3 by 2 by 8,
Right.
3 feet wide, 2 feet high, 8 feet long.
Yeah, we don't fill them completely either, right?
No, and we do put compost in as well. So it's not all loam, it's compost too.
Yeah.
Okay,
I would think between the 5 yards of loam and the compost, you'd have enough to fill up 2 tanks.
Yeah.
yeah, so the reason I'm asking the question is there's 2 things. That we would need enough compost to fill the 2 tanks that we're gonna eventually have in by the end of the summer. That there would be compost for the gardeners, and also that little bee and butterfly garden that we're gonna put in the curve this year of the driveway. I wanted to have some loam, additional loam for that. So I guess I'm asking if I can shift I don't know if I should get a little bit more loam, a little less compost, or if I should just stay with the amount that there is to do that.
Well, there's a balance of $310 in the FY account. And I think the only other expense remaining, and Laura, you can correct me on this, would be utility bills between now and the 1st of July. So how many months is that? I don't know if we got March as yet. March, April, May, 4 months at
There's,
$20 a month.
because I don't have February yet, there's February too, but
5.
So, you got probably a couple of $100 there if you wanted to do
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so as we get closer to the end of the fiscal year, if I need Shane to, or if I can get him to bring a little bit more of whatever down, that would work out.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, because I know
I
we'll
don't know
meet
if
in
Everybody
April.
else does.
We'll meet in April, and then we'll meet in June. So by June, we should have a pretty good idea if there's what the exact amount of money, or pretty close to the amount of money that's left to put towards that.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. That's fine.
That sounds good. We can hold off until making a decision until then.
Okay. And then the very last one, and I promise I'm done. So I've been trying to figure all this money thing out, is fiscal year 24 is we allocated an additional $500 for the for a raised bed, which I intend to do as soon as the fiscal year occurs. And since we moved money from that year, or since, wait a minute, I got to read my notes now again. Oh, since I'm going to get the landscaping cloth in the fiscal year 23 money that was allocated for the fiscal 24 money, I would like to use that money to buy the additional timbers to raise the second bed that is now on the ground. So I'm going to do one this year in the fiscal year money and donation account, and then the second one in the fiscal year 24. But I think we can probably make that decision once your heads all stop spinning. Does that work? We'll talk about that in June.
Works for me.
Yeah.
I won't be here.
Carl's eager.
No
Works for
problem.
me. No problem.
Okay, that's what I'm
So-
thinking ahead to.
Yeah, and the other thing I'm thinking ahead about is the fact that the fiscal year 24 budget hasn't even been approved yet. So,
Yeah,
you know, there's that factor. I mean, it probably will be, but there's that to think about.
good point.
So,
Spending money we don't have yet. Story of my life. All right, so I promise I'm done with that. I have contacted the highway department about getting the different things done that needs to get done prior to the gardening open. So that's all set with Fred. So we're in a good place.
All right. So is there anything else in relation to that, or?
No, I'm stopping now. There's always something.
I'll think of something, but all right. In that case, we'll move on to new business. The legislation that the state had passed, allowing for us to meet on Zoom during COVID, is set to expire at the end of March. And as a result, unless they pass something new or extend the current rules, we won't be able to continue meeting exclusively on Zoom past that date. And so the implication is that we will have to go back to meeting in person. And there is a provision within the open meeting law that allows for hybrid meetings. And so if anybody was uncomfortable meeting in person, or if you couldn't make it or something like that, we can arrange via cable access to set up a hybrid meeting, whereby as long as we had a quorum present in person, people would be able to attend remotely. So that's something to keep in mind. Does anybody have any questions or anything regarding any of that?
So James, is it the intent, if the law doesn't change, you'll have the April meeting in person down at the town offices? Is that the intent?
Yeah, that would be the intent, is if
Yep.
there wasn't an extension, that we would definitely go back to in person. I suppose the question is if people just want to go back to meeting in person anyways at this point.
Yes. I miss seeing all of you in person. You look much better in person.
All right.
James, did you say that if it were hybrid, we would still need an in-person quorum?
My understanding is that the hybrid meeting setup that's built into the open meeting law itself requires the chair and quorum to be present in person.
Okay, good to know.
I don't quote me on that though.
All right, I'll leave it out of the minutes then.
it would be worth checking on. But I think, and I was looking at it the other day, that seemed to be the case, and so and that's how it's been explained to me in the past. Push comes to shove though, that would be something for town council or someone to weigh in on, but and so I don't know if we want to try to take a vote this evening and to just switch back to in-person meetings regardless of what happens with any legislation that may be pending, and adopt hybrid meetings if anybody wanted to attend remotely.
Just one more clarification, James, on those hybrid meetings, that's cable and not Zoom, is that correct?
It
I almost don't know what I'm talking about here, but that's what it sounds like to me.
because cable would end up recording the meetings in person. They want to be able to tie in to the feed from Zoom and then also their camera feed, and they mesh all of that together. And so, oh, sorry.
So as an example, if I wanted to not attend in April in person, could I attend the meeting via Zoom?
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for the
Awesome.
clarification. Yeah.
We just have to notify cable. I can't remember if that's something that we would have to vote on to accept. So it might be worth doing anyways.
So we want to make a motion to make the April meeting in person regardless of pending legislation, but adopt a hybrid model? Or do you want to make a motion to make all future meetings in person?
I mean, it seems like we could do in person. We could say in person and then use a hybrid model as necessary upon request. It's something, if we want to have hybrid meetings, we have to coordinate that with cable on a meeting per meeting basis, essentially. So it's something that we'd have to have a discussion about. We'd have to know about ahead of time because they'd have to be able to prepare.
Okay.
But it wouldn't hurt having a sense of how we wanted to proceed in holding the meetings.
So we could make a motion to start meeting in person in April with the possibility of having a hybrid access as well. That makes sense?
Yeah, it sounds like something like that would.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we start meeting in person during the month of April of this year with the possibility of a hybrid session as well.
All right.
Before we vote on that, James, did I understand that the town is, that's what's going to happen, is that if the mandate is dropped, then we meet in person, but the town also will support hybrid meetings?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the open meeting law supports hybrid meetings.
Okay.
That's written into the open meeting law itself. And so the special legislation that was passed to allow for entirely remote public meetings to take place, if that goes away, the hybrid meeting option is still available.
Okay.
All right. Do we have a second for?
Oh, second.
All right. So the motion is to start meeting in person starting in April of this year with the possibility of conducting hybrid meetings as necessary. Is there any need to discuss the motion? All right. Hearing none, I'll ask everyone to vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. And all opposed? Excellent. All right. The motion passes. I'll send an email out in relation to that. And if anybody ever wants to attend remotely, just let me know and we should be able to get that set up. So, all right. And then moving on to AgCom speaker. This is just something that we've done in the past, and I couldn't remember what the timing on any of that was. I know that we've tied it in with the Cultural Council grant in the past as well, so just figured I'd bring it up in case that was something we had any interest in pursuing again.
I will tell you that the grant cycle is already over for this year. So if it's something that we are interested in pursuing, we should talk about it probably in August. But
Yep.
we meet, yeah, we meet in August, right? Okay. Yeah, we should talk about it in August because the grant cycle opens the beginning of September and ends somewhere around Columbus Day. So if we are interested in pursuing something like that, probably July and August are the times to talk about it.
All right.
And we don't meet in July.
Okay, so August is the time to come to a decision if we have any ideas about bringing someone in, and then
But we should probably all be thinking like of speakers if we wanted to do,
yeah, to bring in
what
on
we would want to do.
in for discussion.
Mhm. All right, excellent. That gives us a time frame. Perfect. And then the final topic is improvements to existing raised beds. Was there? I wasn't sure if we'd covered that. to
Yeah,
some-
I did, and all that smoke
Excellent.
and mirrors stuff I was giving out.
Yeah, it all tied together. So,
Yes, made sense to just go for it.
all right. That concludes
So,
the agenda.
James, excuse me,
Yeah.
there was just one other thing. Let me see here. Get some light on it. So, the select board, sent out an email on the 14th of March, asking if, boards, committees, or commissions, would like to participate in the annual town administrator evaluation process.
Oh, yes.
So, then it goes on about, getting feedback and to respond no later than April 18th.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's something we as a commission want to do. From my personal point of view, with the limited amount of interface I've had with our new administrator, she seems to be knowledgeable and cooperative and easy to work with. So that would be my input.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's a format and whatever. So you all can decide
Yeah.
what you'd like to do there, but the deadline is April 18th. So maybe that could be taken up at the April meeting.
Yeah, we can. The next meeting would be on April 11th, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that would work out well timing wise. It what makes the most? Should somebody? I can put together a draft of something, and then we can review it and modify it as we want, and vote on it at that point, if that makes sense.
Like I said, they do have a format attached to the email. So
So it's like a questionnaire type thing, Carl?
let me
Fill
look
out.
at them. Let me look at them more detail. Just I threw it in a pile here. Now I got to try to retrieve it. My filing system, There we go.
We all know your piles, Carl.
Right.
Yeah, we've seen those before.
Where the heck is it? That's not the right one. No, wait a minute. I got it here. There we go. That's got it. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay. So there's guidance on how to fill it out, a couple of pages of that. And then there's a category called key performance factors and expectations. And, it's exceeds expectations, meets expectations, did not meet expectations, and that there's categories: planning and organization, personnel supervision, decision making, et cetera, and then an opportunity to give specific examples. So that's, I think, the bulk of the form. Oh no, it goes on and on for pages, of course. All right. Skills and knowledge to develop, training, education programs, additional assignments. Then there's employee comments, so they can respond back, I guess. So that's basically the format, and like I say, the first couple of pages give you guidance as to how to fill it out.
So did that come to you in a paper copy and not electronic?
Say again?
Did that come to you as a paper copy?
Electronically.
So are you able to forward that to?
Yeah.
Wait,
Sure.
is Elaine able to forward that to all of us?
Hey, wait a minute.
And I have a copy through the clerk's office too, so I can send that around.
Okay.
Okay.
If that's easier.
Sorry,
So Elaine can do it
couldn't
if you want.
resist.
James, you gonna do it?
Yeah, if you want, I can shoot it around.
Don't send me one, because I got one.
You already going? You know what, more email?
Yeah, I already got one.
All right. That sounds good. So we can plan on taking that up on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
All right. Is there anything else?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Second,
All right. All in favor?
aye.
Bye.
Perfect. All right.